Alani Morgan. For those of you who don't know me, the chief girl, I like to call myself the chief girl of the Good Girl community. And every month I'm here with a brand new theme of addressing topics that really impact us as women. And this month, our theme is summer love. And of course, it makes sense to talk about love during summer because, there's so many people that are navigating relationships or different stage of relationships. I don't know what it is about summer. We're either falling in love or falling out of love. But we're going to talk about all things relationship with the gentleman that you are seeing on your screen. He is our special guest, Colin Anthony Morgan. He is a relationship coach and he's been doing this for 20 years. So it's safe to say that he knows exactly what he's talking about. And Colin, are you ready to dive into all of the things that we're going to talk about today?
Yes, I am. First of all, Chief Girl and all the other good girls, thank you. Thank you for having me. I am ready to go. I'm very excited about this topic. And yes, it's summertime. And no better time to talk about or to get yourself prepared, right? Let's talk about relationships. Let's talk about love. Almost said something crazy.
Oh no, don't do that. Okay, so you have this amazing construct called R.I.B.S. And throughout this week, we're actually going to be exploring each one of those letters. Why don't you just tell us about R.I.B.S. in general?
Thank you, Alani. Well, ladies, listen, I get feedback or questions from women all the time, whether they're in a relationship or searching for a relationship, they're preparing for it. The big question is, how do I prevent myself from getting hurt? Because this thing is not easy, right, Alani? It's not easy for both men and women. So we do get hurt. Preparation is key. So we call it R.I.B.S, and you said it earlier. How do I protect my heart? Pastor Colin or Coach Colin, how do I protect my heart? Now in your body, and I'm not a doctor, but your ribs protect your heart. How do you protect your heart? You use your ribs. R, we're gonna discuss R. R is to be realistic. Be realistic. And we're gonna, let me explain. If you Google realistic right now, the first definition you're going to see is to be able to see things as they really are and to deal with them in a practical way. And then it goes on to say, having or showing a sensible and practical idea of what can be achieved or expected. So being honest with yourself, first being able, Alani, to sit back, look at the picture, look at your life. And I like to say for me first, I like to look in the mirror first before I approach anything. So let's get to know ourselves first. Let's be realistic with not only our situation, but with ourselves. So the R in R.I.B.S is first to be realistic, becoming more aware of your own biases, flaws, and internal assumptions, okay? Having and this is very important, a clear-eyed view of what's happening, of yourself in the mirror or the situation, environment. And this can help you to decide what traits and beliefs that you possess that are good or not so good, right? And change requires either improvement or switching, delete them, change them. And so the first thing is to be realistic. And when I say realistic, there's a whole lot. The first thing is the hardest thing, which is to come to terms with what is really out there. So the me and then the marketplace, all right? So that's what realistic is in a nutshell.
And what is the marketplace? How are you describing the marketplace?
Okay, it's an analogy, right? So when we talk about, I'm making it transactional. Now, let's not steer too far away from the fact that there's an emotional exchange, but there's also a transaction that's happening. There's almost a purchase between you and this gentleman. Okay, ladies. So he's a purchaser and so are you. Okay, you're a product, so is he. But from your perspective as a brand or a product, am I ready? Where do I fall in the marketplace? And I say marketplace because God gave us all the power of choice. And companies spend millions, billions trying to figure out how to influence me, because the best gift he gave us is the power of choice. So we have to be aware of that. So because of that, Alani, there is a marketplace, and women need to be aware and prepare for the market. The market. Men out there are purchasing. Get here, understand the analogy? And I'm the product. So you are the product for them, right? But before I married you, I had to say, okay, how much money do I have? Where do I? What can I get? Who can I? And I think I did pretty well. And the same for you. You had to figure, okay, I'm getting married, so I'm preparing for the marketplace. So that's marketplace.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you said something interesting in all of what you said, which is that purchasing power and what can you spend, what can you afford. But when you say how much you have to spend, what is it that we are spending in actuality?
Well, in this case, when we're talking to women about being the product, all right, and preparing for the market, it's very important. When, like I said, the companies are spending so much money trying to figure out how can I influence him or her to purchase this product. Then you also have to focus on the actual product, right? How does it look? How does it sound? How does it feel? What is the feeling that people get? And what is the power that it has? The purchasing power. Like what makes people want to buy this product? What I like to tell ladies, especially ladies, men are very practical. Okay, understand the mind of a man and understand what it is that they want to buy, are looking for. And not all men are shopping for the same thing. Mm-hmm. We spoke about the power of choice. God gave us all the power of choice. We all have the power of choice, but we also all have the power to be chosen. So when we talk about the market, we're not just saying, oh, it's all in their hands. It is, because they have to make a decision, but so do you. But you can also affect what they choose, or whether you're chosen or not. You can choose to just go about it kind of nonchalant if you like, but you need to somehow figure out how to access that power to be chosen, because you have a power to be chosen. Am I gonna do my hair? Am I gonna fix up myself? Am I gonna manage my mind, my mouth, my moods, right? So that I can affect my power to be chosen and their power to choose.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's good. So when we talk about realistic, because when I've heard you share with other people this R.I.B.S concept, when you talk about realistic, to me it involves a level of self-awareness, right? So when we say realistic, we're talking about being self-aware, and as you said, looking in the mirror and being honest with yourself, doing that introspection to fairly assess where you're at. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are the things that you want to improve, right? So my question for you at this point is, how is it that I can look into myself and be realistic about who I am in a way that is safe and not necessarily tearing myself down, but a constructive looking within?
Yeah, that's a great question. Let me say 100% it is about self-introspection and assessing the product, which is you, an amazing product, and can be made even more valuable with some attention and some objectivity, right? Looking at yourself honestly. But let me say this. When I say real, or when we say realistic, it is not based on your reality. It's based on the reality of the market, and the market is determined, right now, the market is determined by the men. It's tough, I know. That's why I started off with, this is the hardest part. After this, it gets easier. Ladies, let me just say this, Alani, when you're going out on a trip and you're packing for a journey, you have to pack, you have to get ready, you prepare, you map it out, and you set your course, where we're going, who we're going with, what we're going to do along the way, what am I carrying? So you're going on this journey, which is a quest. And I don't just call it the plight of a woman, but both men and women are on a journey to figure this thing out, right? So yeah, it is looking at yourself, but also understanding the market, what's happening out there, and then understanding the mind of the man. And more specifically, if you zero in on a guy and y'all might be dating or you're interested, figure out what he wants. It is very important. So the reality is not your reality. How I see it is this, and I think that men should this, and you can say all of that and do all of that and end up thinking that by yourself for quite a while. So the reality is based on the market, which is determined by the men right now.
Okay, so kind of bring that all together. We're saying that in being realistic, sure, it's very important for us to be aware of who we are and understand just as the individual how we fit into this marketplace, but then also being aware and being pragmatic, quite frankly, about the environment and what the dating scene is like, and being equipped with that information to be able to navigate it. So with that said, what are the realities of the current dating market, dating pool? Because a lot of people are calling it a cesspool.
No, sir, it's not. It's only a cesspool if you think. If you think like crap, if that's the way you think. That's why I said, I'm telling you, I've seen and I've coached, and I know women who, they're on the scale of 1 to 10, but they always have a date because it's never a cesspool to them, and men feel it. We can sense it. Is this about to be a crappy date? She's cute and everything, but I don't know. That one date, and the guys will say to me, I know, and I'm like, well, what went wrong? I don't know. It's just her posture, her perspective. So yeah, it's a cesspool. You make it crappy, right? So here are some questions, Alani. Who am I, right? As a young lady, who am I? Who can I attract? Being real, being realistic, right? Then if you spot a guy or you're thinking of the ideal person, you think, okay, who is he? That man, the type, whether it's a person that you know or it's a type. You can have types, ladies. You're not just subject to take whatever you get. What we say in Jamaica, what left, right? You can say, okay, who is he? That man, the one that I like, the type of man that I like. And who can he also attract? Because we have to be very aware not to overreach. And if you want that person, you identify what they like and what they want, then become that. Fix up yourself to get there, because the market don't lie. It's not going to bend and switch and change just for you. It's not going to. So objectively evaluate yourself. Who am I? How do I look? How do I sound? What happens to a room when I walk into the room? This is all mirror stuff I'm talking about. And so that's how you can be very aware, be realistic with the who you are, what the marketplace is like. Look around. I mean, and it's different, it's different in Jamaica versus America versus culturally, what type of church you go. Your environment, your market can be affected by where you are and what you like. So that's very important.
Okay, and when we're having these general conversations, I know it's difficult to be very specific about, what does a man want exactly, or what does a woman want, or what should a woman put forward, because our journeys through relationships and finding love is so different. But for just the sake of this conversation and generalizing, because in this context, all we can do is generalize, what are some tips that you can give to women to be realistic and also, pair that up with what you think the market is and what's a realistic way to view the market?
Yeah, it's so relative, As you say, I've been coaching for quite a long time, pastoring for a long time, and whenever someone sits across the desk from me, or on nowadays the Zoom, the camera, right? It's my advice stays centered around the same, but it's kind of different. So the market switches. One girl the same woman who lives in the same place, work at the same place, go to the same school, go to the same church. She could get up and leave, and another one come in, same school, same church. The advice could be different based on where she falls on the market, based on quite honestly, practically, our market and the men's purchasing and their power to choose first has to do with how they look. It has to do with how you look. So it's just real. Men are we're not that deep about it. That's a good way of saying we're shallow. She look good? That's the first thing. Then we get into, is she sweet? And is it cesspool-ish? Does she have an attitude? What is her mode like? But first, we don't even get there. We're first attracted to initially visual, we're stimulated visually. So that's the first thing. And that can affect your market. That can affect the conversation that we have. I strongly recommend that in order to figure out, size up this market, looking at yourself in the mirror, but also looking at the market. And then of course, men and what men's thoughts are, that you get a coach. Find a big brother, find someone that you trust that has some experience, because you don't need to be in trouble to have a coach. You just, because a coach helps you, a pastor or a big brother, somebody that really cares about you and is not afraid to tell you the truth, right? And it's very important. So really your ability to see, hear, and know the truth, whether you're getting it from your own self, your own eyes, or externally from, not just, please, can your last coaching come from your friends, please? Your girlfriends? Girlfriends are not good coaches. First of all, and this is not everyone or all of your girlfriends, maybe your BFF will tell you the truth, but women don't tell each other the truth. And that's the truth. They rarely do. They don't lie, but they do.
Yeah, sometimes we don't want to hurt each other's feelings.
Yeah, that's the first reason. Yeah, and that's the first reason, you know. They don't want to hurt each other. Anytime I hear a girl talking about their friend, I will say, how she look? She cute. Everybody's cute. So you want your coaching or your survey, you want to have somebody in your ear who's going to be very objective. Okay, you want to know the truth. And again, this is not just for looks questions. How do I look? But different things. Okay, so you have to be able to objectively evaluate many things: your looks and where you're at, and what is the threshold for growth. Because you can grow, you can get better. If looks wise, you kind of, you know, then work on that. Be real about that. But there's your looks, then there's your age, there's your stage, that's maturity, age, you know what that is, age. Then there's your stage, and that affects your wage, which is, again, you ask the question, what do you mean, what can I afford? You know, what's in your wallet is going to be affected by how you look, how much you chat, how much you talk, the vibe that he gets from you, you know, your maturity stage, and of course, what he wants. What does the man want? You know, Alani, can I say, this is crazy, but I think some women feel that because they got older and smarter and they keep getting promotions and they're more valuable, they can have a serious conversation and they know a lot about a lot of things, or a little bit about holy, and they're quite intelligent. They think that adds, as they get older, that adds value. Be careful. Again, this marketplace isn't determined by you, right? And even though your boss is appreciative that you went out and did all of this, and your parents are like, everybody's just impressed, and you got a different car and you bought your home and those things, stability, and that's great, and more power to you. But that's not initially what a man wants. And that's not necessarily what turns us on. It doesn't hurt, but it's more cherries on top. But initially, that's not necessarily what we want. And some women are thinking, they stepped up to their 20s and into their 30s, but I'm more valuable now. So they see themselves as having more cash to spend. Mm-hmm. And that might not necessarily be the truth about the market.
Mm-hmm. So I feel like we could go on and on and on and talk about this, because truly I do want to ask a few more questions. But, you know, at the end of the day, what we're saying through this conversation is that, you know, ladies, we need to be in a place where we can look out, be realistic about the current situation that we're in. You know, in the 60s, it was a different experience. In the 70s, it was a different experience. Here we are in 2003. What are the challenges that are out there? And then also take a look within yourself and say, okay, with this being the current environment that exists, how am I going to prepare myself to make an impact, to stand out, to connect with somebody, with that one person that we're looking for? How am I going to be able to achieve that? maybe the search is not as deep and complicated as we think it is. And as we continue this chat, because Colin, you'll be hanging out with us all this week. But before we go, of all the things that you said today, what's that final gem that you want to leave with us?
Ladies, do me a favor. Shoot the shot that you can make. After all that we said and after it's all said and done, shoot the shot that you can make.
Okay, that's great. I feel like we're going to have to do a part 2 somehow to understand the shoot the shot you can make. Do you want to clarify a little bit more about shooting the shot that you can make?
Well, yeah, and I'm not saying that you have to be the one hunting. You know, do we know how to be hunted? You know, do you know? So the hunter is coming, or the men are looking. How can I be the one that's seen? The power of being chosen. Know how to be chosen, ladies. And you might need a big brother or a coach, or, you know, reach out to us, reach out to me. But after you set your criteria and the expectations, shoot the shot that you can make, okay? Be realistic in that way. There's so much that we could talk about, and I'm excited about the rest of the week. I'm excited to get into the I, the B, the S. Can't wait. Thank you so much, Alani. First of all, for marrying me.
Yes.
But I love doing this with you, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the week. Thanks.
Perfect. So ladies, community is so important. You know, the good girl community is all about building an environment where you have people, where you can connect with people who are on the journey that you're on, that you can relate to, that you can build relationship with. And at the end of the day, community protects you. So start with being realistic. It's the hardest part, and it seems the harshest part. But once you're able to have a certain mindset and think in a certain way, I think that our relationship journey or love journey will be so much better, and we can protect our hearts as we are with R.I.B.S. And yes, I'm looking forward to continuing this conversation throughout this week. So thanks for checking in. Colin's information will be in our description so that you can connect with him, maybe ask him to clarify anything that needs clarification. And also I want to remind you to like this video, subscribe to our channel, share it, because this is information I believe that all women need to hear. So we'll see you soon. Bye.